So this now again is another story in itself, and it's a quite a big one. This was where my life really, really did change. So the way I'm going to tell it is just by the two girls involved from start to finish. One of the girls doesn't want her name mentioned, so I'm not going to use any dates or address or locations or what year it was. She's just going to be known as this girl. And then the other girl, her name is Becca, and Becca's still a really good friend of mine now. The story starts with Becca. Mark, the person I spoke about earlier, and when he was living in one of the addresses, his mum knew Becca's mum, so sometimes I'd be with Mark and would be at Becca's house. So that's how I first actually noticed Becca. We were in the same primary school, the first one I went to, and I'd always looked at her and thought, oh, she's cute, and and so on. So again, I can use the age on this one, but as the story gets on, the age will disappear. So again, we were probably around the age of maybe 12. It was come up to Christmas, and it was, I'm gonna say, November at the time. We started talking very briefly on Facebook, and we met up a few times. I asked her out, probably on Facebook at the time, and it was her birthday. It snowed on Becca's birthday as well, ironically, and we went to McDonald's with two of her other friends. I gave her a card with £5 in, 'cause I'm classy like that, I guess. And anyways, that was almost the end of it. We dated for like another week maybe, and then I broke up with her. I I don't even know why, to be honest. We just broke up, and that was almost it for like another year. We didn't really speak, and then again, come up the following year, um, same thing happened. It was September, October. We started talking, then November we started dating. Um, very, very similar thing happened almost again. So at this time, I asked her out again. I said, hopefully it could work better this time. Famous last words. And yeah, it didn't last. Again, it weren't long, maybe like a week, another 2 weeks maybe, we broke up. Um, that time, I could be getting wrong with the time we broke up this time and the next one, so I'll just save it for the next one. And I'll just say I broke up with her again for being probably just a dick. Again, I think it was possibly another year later, or it was the year after. It was one or the other. And yeah, you guessed it, we dated again. This time we went to a party and we kissed, and it went from there. I said to her, I'm really sorry about the last times. I really mean it this time. I don't know if I used the words "you can trust me," but again, being a dick, I probably did, and I don't know why, but she trusted me, and yeah. So anyway, this time I asked her out in. It was at my house. We were listening to music, and this is just classical Jack for you. I put on the song "What You Say" by Jason Derulo, and I sang all the lyrics to it. And at the end, I said, "So, what do you say? Do you want to go out with me?" And she said, "Yeah." Oh my god, it was cringe. Um, I have no words for myself on that one. Again, you also guessed it. We broke up. But this time I said to her, I remember we were stood by the steps, and I said, "You don't want nothing to do with me. I'm gonna fail in life. I'm useless. I'm a waste. You're no good being sticking around. It's not worth it for you. You're a nice person. I'm not, and you don't want to be around for what's gonna happen." At the time, I did not exactly know what was gonna happen, but I knew something bad in my life was gonna happen, and that come true. But we broke up. I said, "I'm sorry." She tried to change her mind. She said, "No, no, you might not mean it." I said, "Look, my GCSE is going to be absolutely rubbish. I'm not going to have a life. I'm not going to have a good job. You don't deserve that." Um, well, I meant every word. I wanted her to stay around, but I knew what was to happen in my life. She didn't want to be around, and I didn't want her involved with that. So I broke up with her another year later. Okay, so again, you almost guessed it this time, but no, there's a twist. So there's this girl, and you may hear me say some words, and I may repeat things from another relationship, but the words like that I used there and then might have been different to the words I use now. But to simplify everything, I may repeat myself. But for each and every individual person that I said it to, I meant every single word. So it's just like, I mean, sure, you can agree if you've had a relationship, you say something that I love you, and then you might have another relationship a few years later, you're going to say the same thing. So it doesn't mean you meant it any less or any more then than you do now, just so we're on the same terms. And so this girl was running around, we were in high school, and she was running on the field with a friend of mine, and I seen her, I was like, oh my god, she is beautiful. There was no other word for me, my heart was, it was going. I was mesmerised just watching her. She wouldn't do nothing impressive, she was literally running around, she had a smile on her face, and it made me smile. I used to say to her, well, Jack, you're smiling, like, what are you doing? I was friends with one of her friends, and I asked her what was her name, and the other girl, she told me. We got introduced. I started talking to her. I liked her instantly. It was just sort of that feeling you can't miss, really. I mean, it was there. I couldn't say it weren't, and I felt I felt really strongly towards this person. As time went on, we become closer friends. At first, she thought I actually really liked her other friend, but in fact, we were just really close, and that was nothing to do with it. We started talking, and it was, I'm trying to get it right. It was maybe, I'm going to say October, November, and I asked her out, but before that, I said to her, look, I'm not looking for a relationship that isn't going to last. I'm looking for something that, a relationship that might go somewhere. And she said, well, personally, I wouldn't want a relationship that isn't going to go anywhere either. So we both agreed. We held hands on that day. We didn't kiss. On that day, we met up a few more times. We kissed. Our first kiss was in a park, and it was. I felt absolutely amazing after it. It was so good, and I instantly knew, like, this girl's really something. She means a lot to me, and I'm not gonna get her out of my mind for a long, long time. The day I did ask her out, it was actually at school. I was never really in school at the time. I was work experience, or just didn't have enough lessons. Not that relevant right now. So anyway, I said to her, I have 6 words for you, and for the life of her, she couldn't guess what it was. So I had to say it to her. I said, will you go out with me? And she said yes. I was like, yeah, come on, get in there. And I went home absolutely buzzing. I remember going home that evening, and I said to my mum, I've got a girlfriend. She's like, ooh, who is it this time then? And I was like, oh, fucking hell, here we go. And well, anyway, nevertheless, I was madly in love straight away, but I didn't actually know it at this point. And as time went on, it come to Christmas. Christmas was really nice. I got her a few things. She got me a few things in return. New Year's Eve that's the night I broke my first promise. That I never break promises. So if I ever promise you something, I've let you down, then what I just said then was also a lie, so I apologise. But I'm going to say, if I've ever made a promise from this time, then yeah. Otherwise, you're going to have to let me off, I'm afraid. We stayed at my nan's house this night. My mum wouldn't allow us to sleep in the same room, in the same bed, and neither of my nan, nothing would have happened. I had no intentions of doing anything with this girl. I had more respect for her than to use her as a doll to perform my rituals on. And so, I had no intentions. I just wanted to hold her for the night and tell her how much I loved her, and unfortunately I couldn't do that, so she had to sleep in my nan's room. I had to sleep in my room at my nan's house. Before we went to bed, I sat in the same room with her. I held her hand, I kissed her. She said, don't leave me. I looked at her and I said to her, I'll never leave you. And that was the first lie first promise I broke, and that promise broke me for a few years after. As we were getting on, me and Becca started talking again, and it was at the point where it was quite frequent. It was nice to see her again. You know, we met up a few times. We were speaking from the start of December, and now this girl knew that we were speaking, and she knew we had dated before. She knew we were close, and she was okay with me going around her house, which I did a few times. And you know, she was okay with that. I'd still obviously go and see this girl because this girl was who I was dating and having a really good time with her. But then coming up to February, the again good old classic Jack kicked in and started gaining feelings for Becca, and it was just uncalled for. I mean, I knew what I was doing. I knew that going around to her house probably would have led to me gaining feelings for her again, and it was just silly of me, to be honest. Becca had never done anything wrong. She didn't even really need to be involved with all this, to be honest. It was just me and my own selfish games. I told Becca I had feelings for her. She didn't really have too much to say about it, to be honest. She said, well, you've got a girlfriend, you know, what you're playing at. You know, I was saying this stuff on Facebook. It come to Valentine's Day, and I was up. Well, I met this girl coming off the boat, and she was coming back from across. We went to hers. I give her a teddy bear, and her mum was in the room at the time. She said, "What are you going to call the teddy bear?" She said, "Jack," and did I feel so terrible. Because I just knew there and then that I was in a bit of a pickle that I am not getting myself out of anytime soon. And I felt just so bad. That night, that damn day, I was talking to Becca, and I said to her, I'd rather be with you than I would here. And I was just an idiot. And the worst part is that I was talking a few days earlier on this girl's iPad on my Facebook, and I hadn't logged out, and she ended up seeing all the messages that I'd sent to Becca. It was just not good, really. It really wasn't. Becca had nothing to do on this side of things. She was just caught up in the middle of this big wild mess. It was pretty hectic. So this girl, she spoke to me a few days later, and at the time she was in Manchester, and she said, "I know that you've been talking to Becca again." And I instantly just thought, oh no. I mean, I knew it was coming. I was planning on breaking up with this girl because I felt so bad about it, and I didn't know what to do. I just thought, I can't be gaining feelings for somebody else and continue a relationship with this girl. And well, she read it in the end. She confronted me, and we broke up. And in the end, I said to Becca, "I've made a fucking huge mistake." And she said, "What's that?" And I said, "I don't like you." But again, Becca weren't really, I guess, involved with it. She was only involved with it because of me telling her I liked her. So, you know, really, she didn't really have much to do with it. I never once slept with Becca. I never kissed her. I never held her hand. I didn't hug her. Well, I mean, I hugged her hello and goodbye. I never held her in any intimate way during the time I was with this girl. And during the small time period we broke up, Becca was just involved because I was telling her that I liked her. And I told this girl, you know, it was thoughts over feelings. It was thoughts over feelings. I like you, you know. I even said to her that I love you, and I said, "I'm just so sorry. I was so hurt, and I had every right to be hurt. I should have been hurt because I did a really bad thing. I upset a really nice girl, and she gave me a second chance, and I thought everything's going to be okay again. Everything's going to be okay. I was only lying to myself because it was the only thing that would keep me going at the time. And it come to my birthday. It weren't a great night, I guess. I mean, I could see it in her eyes. She didn't want to be there. I knew she didn't. When we were back at my house, I knew she didn't want to be sat on my bed next to me. I knew she didn't want to look. She just didn't want to be there, and that really upset me. The next day, I thought I didn't know what I needed. I didn't know what I thought. I told her in the school, I said, "I love you." I used them 3 words for the first time and actually meant them in my life to someone else besides family. And a day or two later, she broke up with me again, and I was in tears for weeks. That was the first person I fell in love with, and I just knew what an absolute idiot I had been. So we we broke up, I kind of felt my life and heart shattered to pieces. Um, it's nice that I can actually look back and smile on it now because it was only 4 years ago I was still hurt about it. Again, good to look back now with a smile on my face rather than look back and think, oh, I miss everything. But it's unrealistic because life and nothing stops for no one. It just keeps going, and it's how you deal with it that makes it worthwhile. She's heard it 1,000 times, maybe more, but just one more time, I'm sorry for everything that happened during that time. I'm sorry how upset you may have been at the time, or if I hurt you and how much I hurt you. I didn't mean for any of that to happen. Again, it was just classic old Jack being a tart as usual. So again, I apologise, and I hope you're doing well now, and I'm sure you are, and I hope everything's going well in life for you, family and friends. I hope everyone's supporting you with what you're doing, and I hope you're having a good time.